So we know the issues, we know about energy, we know about the border, we know Joe Biden doesn't know what he's doing. We know all that, we get all that, but why do this? Why do this here tonight with Legacy PAC? Because there's a whole lot of people who have the passion to save this country who need help getting off the ground.
The purpose of Legacy PAC is to save America. That's our mission. That's what we really want to do because America is worth saving.
I am by trade, I'm a cybersecurity engineer. Okay, so this is my first run in politics. We need more conservative Republicans standing up and fighting for the Constitution.
We're an America First PAC, and we want to promote and help our up-and-coming candidates, and we're going to be holding the line for President Trump.
I joined the Army at 17 years old. My first day at my first unit, which was 25th Infantry, was September 10th, 2001. So the next day was 9/11. And I spent about a total of a decade between Iraq and Afghanistan in country. So my country means everything to me. When I realized that if people like myself who don't want to be politicians don't start stepping up and taking these seats, that nothing's going to change, then I said, okay, I'll do it.
Who deserves to lead the people of this country more than those who serve this country? So I'm behind every one of them. So let's make sure we get more veterans into power. I'm all for it.
Remember why you're involved. We have to make sure people remain humble and not engage in self-glorification. You are here for one reason, and that is to save the country. Period. End of story.
And for those candidates who are looking uphill and wondering how, keep your head down, focus on the target, and outwork everybody. And I promise you, you're not gonna lose. You're either gonna win on election night or you change the game on election night. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much, Legacy PAC.
Thank you, Legacy PAC.
And Stan, where's Stan? Stan is with Veterans for Trump.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you all. We're honored. I know there are so many organizations represented here today.
We're sitting here too much. But you're going to do very well. And I just had somebody write down, first of all, James and Sarah Pritchard, thank you very much. Yes, great job. Thank you. We appreciate all the help. Stanley and Donna Fitzgerald.
Right here, sir.
Thank you very much. It's great. It's great that you're with us. Mike Acton.
Hi, this is Stan Fitzgerald with Veterans for Trump and Legacy PAC. I'm here with Glen Weaver, who's running for Senate in Nebraska. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Stan. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, I thank you for coming on with our organization. Lieutenant Colonel, can you tell us a little bit about your military background?
Yeah, sure, Stan. Thank you so much. Name is Lieutenant Colonel John Glen Weaver, the United States Air Force. I retired about 2 years ago. Spent 22 years on active duty in the Air Force, stationed all over the world, multiple deployments, multiple combat tours to Iraq and Afghanistan with hundreds of combat hours and combat support hours, flying in multiple operations, mainly doing intelligence collection. I worked in the Pentagon for several years, got a few master's degrees here and there, but finished up my time in Omaha, Nebraska, doing nuclear command and control, and then got out of the military to run for office and help save our country that I protected for 22 years.
Well, we appreciate that. And as the next senator from Nebraska, what are some of the policies you plan on focusing on?
There's a lot of things going on right now. Our country is broke in all aspects, but I think as I travel the state and talk to Nebraskans, the number one thing we have to do is secure our border. If we do not have a secure border, we don't have a country. I remember serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. If you didn't secure the perimeter of your forward operating base, you wouldn't have a base anymore and you'd be overrun. So under Joseph Robinette Biden, they've let 8 million illegals come across the border with fentanyl, and now potentially terrorists coming across. The number one thing is certainly to secure our border. I think number two certainly is to get inflation and government overreach and control under control. the way our government spends money and our senators write blank checks and fund Ukraine that we can't afford. We need to stop. That kind of rolls into the third one of stop the funding of Ukraine. Our country cannot afford endless wars. I fought for 20 years in an endless war in Afghanistan and Iraq. And as a military professional who worked at the Pentagon and served in the military and got a master's in military operational art and science, you cannot be a successful nation if you are constantly at war. And so I'm not anti-war. It's just we've got to be careful about what we get ourselves involved with. And it has to be an existential threat to this country. I majored in Russian. I study Russian. I speak Russian. And I can tell you, Ukraine is not a place that Nebraskans want their sons and daughters to go die for at this point in time. So those are the main ones. And then obviously the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, however depressed you want to be to talk about what the disastrous policies that the Biden administration and your regime have put against us. But lastly, I would say we've got to get a hold of the weaponization of the Department of Justice, going after political opponents, the election interference of courts and judges and prosecutorial folks. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know all the legalese, but we, as the U.S. Senate and as a senator, I will actively do a check and balance of the executive branch, which is the Department of Justice and the FBI, to make sure that what they're doing is focused on keeping Americans safe and not going after Americans like President Donald Trump for election interference. And the only reason they're going after him is because he's widely ahead in the polls. I live in Nebraska. Iowa's right across the border, 20, 30% ahead in the polls. And then we have all these allegations. So as a senator from Nebraska, I would speak out against it and stop the weaponization of the DOJ. But there's a lot of things making our government military strong again. Iran is a big is a big adversary of ours that we need to keep in check, and government spending. And of course, ag in Nebraska is a big deal to increase agricultural exports. But in a nutshell, those are kind of the top issues that I see that as I travel the state of Nebraska and talk to Nebraskans about.
And you've actually answered my third question, so and you've covered it well. And strangely, our Nebraska reps are quiet about the weaponization of the government against the president and friends of mine in Georgia. So thank you, sir, for
Well, so we have three, not to interrupt you, but we have 3 representatives and obviously 2 senators. And although they have come out and said the weaponization of the DOJ is bad, they haven't come out and defended the president in those allegations. So I think they're riding the fine line of, well, we'll see how it goes in the election, and I'll calculate who I want to side with, rather than standing at the beginning and saying, hey, here's what's wrong about the weaponization of it, and I'm standing up for what's right. I'm not standing behind the person that I hope wins so I can get an appointment. I'm doing this for the people. I'm doing it for the Constitution, number one, and then the people, and just standing up for what's right. And what I see happening is wrong. So I'm the lone person in running for office in Nebraska that's actually standing up for President Trump. And I hope when the other elected officials see this, that they join on to me, because it's not about just me. It's about supporting lawful DOJ and not a weaponized DOJ.
Amen to that, and thank you, sir. Glenn, I've already pre-approved this with the board, and I can announce here today that our national grassroots organization, Veterans for America First, also known as Veterans for Trump, is issuing an endorsement for your campaign. We appreciate you, and the senator there now is just appointed, so he's running against you. And you are.
Yeah, that's what I say. He purchased the office too. As a military retiree, I wait on my checks to come in the mail so I can travel the state. So any financial support will be helpful. But I'm doing this for the country. If I win the United States Senate, it's going to be because of the people, and that they sent me there, and lobbyists and PACs and everybody's not sending me there. So it's an honor to know that a great organization like yourself of veterans is supporting a veteran like myself, because we need more veterans in the United States Senate to stand up for veterans, better health care for the VA, stop endless wars, and somebody that's actually had skin in the game serving their country, as opposed to my opponent who was building a political career. So thank you so much, Stan. It's an honor.
You're very welcome, sir. And what is your website for people to visit?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Weaver for FOR Senate, www.weaver4senate. John Glen Weaver, future senator from the state of Nebraska.
Thank you, sir. And we'll have that out in the press in a couple days for you. And
That's an honor.
You're welcome. Reach out anytime.
All right. Thanks, sir. Out here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.